Whispers from the Cosmic Visitor, Part 2, The Night of Madness, full documentary nightmare. The madness begins. At first, the change was subtle, so subtle that most dismissed it. Radio operators reported the static had grown louder, sharper, edged with something like laughter. Television stuttered mid-broadcast, frames flickering not with random distortion, but with shapes, fleeting figures behind the fuzz. Phones rang with no incoming calls, numbers flashing, strings of zeros. When answered, only whispers came through. Whispers that sometimes spoke the listener's name. It was easy in those early days to dismiss it as hysteria. Easy to say, it's interference. Easy to say, it's the imagination playing tricks. But then came the voices that weren't random. One man in Chicago answered a call at 3:16 in the morning. The voice on the other end sounded like his wife, who had been dead for 11 years. She said she was cold. She said she was with them. She said the gate was open. In Seoul, a woman turned on her television to static, only to hear the voice of her unborn son. He spoke to her by name, telling her to prepare. In Nairobi, entire neighborhoods swore they heard their ancestors in the night wind, calling them by bloodline, chanting words no language scholar could identify. The rational world tried to fight it. Governments dismissed it. Scientists argued it was collective psychosis, mass suggestion, a side effect of solar radiation. But denial could not hold against what came next. The first wave of madness. It began with violence. In Madrid, a woman stabbed a stranger in the street, later swearing she saw his face melt away to reveal horns and fire. In Los Angeles, a father drowned his 3 daughters in the bathtub, saying the comet told him they were marked. In Moscow, soldiers shot into a crowd of protesters and afterward claimed they had been firing at shadows with claws and wings. Hospitals overflowed, not with the sick but with the broken. Men and women rocking back and forth, whispering the same refrains. The throne descends. The pit is open. The kings are coming. Doctors tried to medicate them. Priests tried to exorcise them. Both failed. Global collapse, United States. In New York City, the madness struck suddenly. Subway trains ground to a halt as conductors abandoned their posts, hearing voices from the tunnels. Thousands of passengers emerged into streets already burning. In Times Square, the billboards glitched in unison. Every screen flashing the comet's image, the green tail writhing like tentacles. Pedestrians collapsed on the asphalt, clutching their heads, screaming as if something inside their skulls was clawing to get out. In Los Angeles, cults sprang up overnight. Rooftops filled with robed figures who cut their palms and painted symbols onto the shingles in their own blood. Helicopters circled above, but when floodlights caught their faces, every one of them was smiling. Eyes rolled white, staring upward at ATLAS, Europe. In London, the Thames turned red. Scientists claimed algae bloom. Witnesses claimed otherwise, that the river hissed with voices, promising release if they jumped. Hundreds did. None were recovered. In Paris, Notre Dame, still under reconstruction, went up in flames again. But this time, witnesses swore the flames formed shapes, towering figures with wings and horns, screaming with laughter as the spire collapsed. Asia. In Tokyo, commuter trains collided when both conductors abandoned their controls simultaneously, leaving suicide notes that simply read, "The gate is open." In India, tens of thousands gathered on the banks of the Ganges. Pilgrims threw themselves into the water, chanting in unison. The current carried their bodies downstream, but the chanting never ceased. Even as bloated corpses washed ashore hundreds of miles away, mouths still moving. Middle East. In Mecca, pilgrims stampeded, crying out that the black stone in the Kaaba had cracked. The Saudi government denied it, but leaked images showed fissures running through it, glowing faintly green. In Jerusalem, rabbis and priests turned on each other in the streets, some tearing pages from scripture, others eating them, chewing until their mouths bled. Africa. In the Congo, villages reported drums beating in the night with no drummers. In the Sahara, nomads vanished, leaving only circles burned into the sand. In Johannesburg, crowds tore their clothes and covered themselves in ash, chanting until police opened fire. Even then, the chants continued. South America. In Sao Paulo, buses burned in the streets as gangs carved pentagrams into the asphalt, dancing in the flames. In Buenos Aires, the obelisco cracked down the middle at the exact moment the comet pulsed overhead. Witnesses claimed a voice echoed through the city. Bow. Antarctica. Research stations went dark. Last transmissions spoke of screaming under the ice. Personal accounts, Father Mateo, Spain. I stood at the altar, my sermon halfway through, and then my words. They weren't mine. The Latin on the page twisted. I could not read it, but the congregation heard me. They heard me speak of fire, of a throne, of a king rising in the stars. Some fell to their knees. Some fled. I dropped the Bible. It bled in my hands. Dr. Yuki Tanaka, Japan. We watched the comet through the telescope. The surface moved, it shifted. Faces pressed against the crust. Dozens, hundreds. Their mouths opened, but no sound came. Then the static filled the observatory. We all heard the same thing. We are many. Sergeant Miller, USA. We were told to secure the bridge. Crowds were gathering. When we arrived, they weren't rioting. They were kneeling. Thousands, all kneeling, staring at the sky. Their mouths moved in silence. Then one by one, they opened their throats with knives. We couldn't stop them. We couldn't even move. The green light held us still. The nightmares spread. Sleep became the true enemy. Every continent reported the same visions. Towers of bone rising from the seas, rivers boiling into blood, black-winged shapes eclipsing the sun, and always the comet at the center of it. Cracking open, light spilling out, and clawed hands stretching forth. Children recited verses from Revelation they had never read. Farmers awoke to fields scorched with symbols. Circles, spirals, horn shapes burnt into the earth. Prisoners in solitary confinement whispered star maps matching Atlas's path. The world was dreaming the same dream. The night of madness. Then came the night. It began in silence. Radios, phones, televisions cut off at once. Even the stars seemed to dim. For 3 hours, the world waited, and then the comet pulsed. One single flash of green light, visible to every eye on Earth. Every screen lit, every speaker roared, every soul vibrated. The message, the gate is open. What followed was chaos. Crowds tore each other apart in the streets. Fires burned from New York to Cairo, Moscow to Sao Paulo. Churches collapsed under the weight of screaming worshipers. Cults in the desert sacrificed each other by the thousands, painting the sands black with blood. And the demons came, not in flesh, not yet, but in presence. Shadows moved where no light fell. Faces appeared in mirrors, whispering promises of power. Hands reached out from static, dragging the curious into silence. The whispers no longer came from devices. They came from the air itself, from the earth, from inside the skull. People clawed at their ears. People clawed at their eyes. Entire cities became slaughterhouses overnight. Survivors stumbled naked into the streets, muttering prayers backwards, gouging their own flesh to silence the voices. Hospitals fell, armies burned, governments vanished. The world was reduced to one truth. Atlas was no comet. It was a prison. And the prison was opening. The throne descends. Inside, the fallen stirred. The faithful cried apocalypse. The mad laughed at the sky. The desperate killed themselves to escape what came next. And the rest of humanity, those still clinging to reason, could only watch as the green fire grew brighter. Closer, closer, closer. Because if Atlas had come to open the gate was never in the stars. The gate was here, on Earth, and it had already begun to open. Thanks for watching. If you like this, let me know in the comments if you're ready for part 3. And don't forget to like and subscribe. You'll need the warning before it arrives. And remember, everything in this story is a work of fiction. No images or descriptions of the story were taken from real-world events.